All right. Hello, everyone. This is Andrey Terekhov, and today I'm being joined here by our own FIDE Master Li Junwei. Say hi to everyone on the line.
Hi everyone.
Fantastic.
Hello.
Please let us know if there are any technical troubles. We had some yesterday, so please just make sure to post that in the chat if you're seeing any issues, right? And basically, we will try to fix it as best we can. The games have already started, and the first match we are playing Latvia, right? So I think we will just go board by board. And by the way, so let me know if you know some of the games, some of the positions better than the others, right? Because I am not exactly kind of great in all the openings. Like for example, here they're playing on the first board some kind of a relatively modern line in the Spanish. Not sure if you're familiar with that.
No, not very.
Yeah, I think like you'd need to take on d4. That's the main line. Play d6 or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like I wouldn't know really. So let's just maybe quickly start with a rundown also on the opponent. So we have two grandmasters playing in the Latvia on the first two boards, Tom Scantons and Norman Smizis. I saw the second board, the grandmaster. He's famous on the open circuit in Europe, Norman Smizis. He is probably more advanced age, I would say, like maybe probably pushing on 50
Yeah.
now. But yeah, like, and also he has a really interesting opening repertoire. So let's just check, by the way, quickly.
I think like he's exchange French specialist or something, right?
He was like, when I was seeing him, he was playing all sorts of opening, but a lot of them were like English opening, c4, g3, bishop g2. He's like more like long games, like he was nothing fancy, nothing really aggressive. But yeah, he has a great technique on this kind of stuff. So let's maybe just quickly switch to board two and check what's going on there. So they started with, okay, it was Sicilian and the closed variation as Yuxengi is famous of playing.
Yeah.
What do you think of the position after move 8? So black just played bishop g4, right? Like insisting on clarification in the center.
I think I don't know. As in, it looks. I mean, here maybe white will go like d5 or something, but I don't know. I think it's. I think black is okay.
Well,
But
let's.
I was a bit weird. Like this move 4 e5. I don't know. But I think
Well,
this is what the
yeah, I
position
think
that black wants, right?
yeah, I mean, it's probably I'm usually getting to this position with like because I'm playing Sicilian Taimanov and I always start with e6. So for me, e5 in one tempo is already like a luxury, right? So like usually when I'm getting into that kind of position, I'm usually a tempo down. But like d5, I wasn't sure because like black can just play knight d4 and probably he's not much worse, right? Like exchange, and like there is not much material on the board. Probably a little advantage, but so I think he just played d take e5 and bishop queen a4, right? So like okay, he's threatening to take a pawn, so probably black will take on f3. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. It's like you can't really. Yeah, he took an f3, but I don't think you can really move the queen anywhere because the like white's development comes up quite fast. So, but I think this position like it doesn't look like white is anything much, right? Like black is easy development. Okay, white is two bishops, but like the one light square bishop is not that great. So.
Yeah, I mean, probably bishop on f3 is not exactly a great piece. Like if black just castles, then the next move really comes knight d4, pushing back the bishop. Maybe f2 is a weakness at some point.
Yeah.
So I think black doesn't have any problems. But okay, well, it's a start. So let's move to board 3. Okay. Quickly check what's going on there. Oh, that's the opening line that she is fond of playing. She just played it against me in the training games when we were practicing for the Olympiad, like I think 2 weeks ago. Kind of.
She against me a few times in this, so.
Yeah, well, she and I think she also played it in Division 3 game once already. So like this strange combination of Queen's Indian and like G6 and B6, I don't even know there is a name for that. Yeah. So usually, like I think white typically has advantage there, but okay. I mean, like black is solid, just like you know, hoping for more complex play down the line. And her opponent is also a woman grandmaster. Like, don't pay attention to the rating, so they're all chess.com ratings, so it's probably not really the real strength there. So it's equal fight. Okay, shall we move to board 4? I just want to quickly kind of get a roundup of all the games that we have.
Okay. This is I think this will be quite a sharp game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's opposite castling and. But I'm interested why the knight is on f3. I thought usually in these positions, white goes like f3, h4, h5.
I think maybe because our player didn't. Okay, it actually started as a d4, believe it or not. Yeah, okay, it makes sense. So it started as d4, knight f6, knight c3, right?
Yeah.
And so Hazel already played it in a couple of games before, so like bishop f4, this is kind of what they call Jabava London, right? But after black played g6 and e4, I think it's just a transposition to the variation that she might not be that familiar with.
That's true. I don't think the bishop goes on f4, right?
Yeah, that's usually strange because like it creates all sorts of like motifs also for like after knight f3, black would go even take like on d4 maybe already, you know, like well not immediately.
No, I don't think it's that good now, but yeah.
But there is like this motif where you'll take on d4, play e5, and like that's why you probably don't want the bishop on f4 necessarily. But it actually, I'm not sure if that's really bad for white because black also moved the knight to h5. Like,
true.
is it like that great? I don't know. d5. White just played d5. Wow.
d5. What? I don't think that looks right. I don't know.
Yeah, like opening the diagonal for black bishop on g7. I think that's a bit optimistic. You know, like I don't think you want that.
Oh no, I think her plan is that the knight on c6 doesn't really have a place to go because if you play knight e5, I can take and play f3, then your bishop's trapped.
Oh wow, so, that's a good one. That's a good one.
But then what if knight b4? White just plays like king b1, and then the knight doesn't have anywhere to go, something like that.
But I think you have to play knight b4, right? Like probably doesn't happen. I would play like maybe like knight b4, king b1, and then a5, and then like if you push me back, I will go on a6 and c5, right?
Yeah, but I think then white has some time, right? Because like the knight on h5 doesn't look very good as well. So maybe after king b1, a5, just like bishop e2, then next move h3.
Yeah. No, that might make sense. But I was still worried that you're opening the diagonal like long term. Maybe she wants to exchange it, right? Maybe she just wants to play bishop h6 at some point.
Yeah, I mean that's always an option now. So I think it looks alright.
By the way, you can probably play bishop h6 even right away. Because like you cannot really take oh no you can.
Yeah, you can.
Bishop c3. Right, sorry, stupid me. So you need
that's
to
why
play
king b1 has to be played here, I think.
Yeah, I think king b1 is a move to do. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. So let's make sure to get back there, and also like both opponents like woman FIDE masters. So it's yeah, board 4, and wow, this is complicated.
I think it just looks quite good for black. Like
yeah, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, the bishop on h7 looks a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like bishop on h7 is not a great piece. How did it come to that? Like it started as a red T opening.
Oh, it's those b3 then.
Yeah, but okay, like how
the opponent went for like knight d4 f4. So.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So actually, you could like, as black, you could also play c5 at some point in time. You didn't have to play c6 really.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Xing'an likes to play this. I mean, this position is very solid, like the c6 then.
Yeah, but like that setup with the knight d4 and f4, I think it actually might be interesting for white, right? Because like you cannot really now push back the knight so easily. c5 is probably not a great move. you go back to f3 or, and you know, like the
I think the idea, Qing'an's idea is after knight takes e4, then d takes e4, then the knight on d4 doesn't really have good pieces to go.
oh,
Like, you
so
can't
he
go
wants
back
to push it like c5, but maybe not immediately, right? Like maybe a6
yeah, something like
first,
e6 and c5. But I think white's bishop g4 is quite good because
bishop g4
now
just
there's
plays.
some knight f5, okay, and bishop f6. That's logical. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, okay, still the bishop on h7 is still like buried even deeper.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Maybe d takes e4 is not right. Maybe just bishop takes e4. Then
yeah, I'm thinking that maybe that was actually, but I think bishop e4 is risky because f5 and it can get lost there.
oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's not a move you play lightly, so maybe that's right. Okay, so I think, yeah, let's just kind of write down that black still needs to figure out what to do with the bishop on h7. And yeah, I would probably
move
take
on to the
white.
last game.
Yeah, let's move to the last game. Whoa,
Okay,
whoa, whoa, look at that.
What is this?
How did that happen? So first of all,
Like
material.
17.
So white is
Maybe.
already pawn up, right? And I don't see how you actually even defend on g7.
I think I'm pretty sure I look at this and like black is just lost.
Yes, but like how did it come to pass? So they started with the English opening this like knight c3, e4 line, Mikenas attack.
Yeah.
And then
I
black
think
played really
black played
fast.
knight d7. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, and like knight d7,
E4,
c6, I don't like any of these moves. Like usually play knight
e4
or c5 maybe, right? So I think that was really slow, and after that, oh, okay, and she allowed doubling the pawns on f-file, but like I think maybe she did it on purpose just to kind of, f4, rook g1, f5, and wow, it's like, oh, look at that, g6. You take on g6, is it just mate? I mean, it looks like it's going to be mate.
Yeah, I don't know, like.
Okay, let's.
I think it's just.
Yeah, I think I mean f takes g6, or like even I don't know something crazy like e6 you can play.
Yeah, I was thinking of playing e6, and then like I don't see how black survives like maybe past 5 moves.
Right, I was even thinking like just takes on the g6 is probably very strong because you also get the opening like bishop and okay, fingers crossed, but this looks good for white. So let's get back. Let's restart again from
board 1.
Yes, let's say board 1.
Yes.
What do we have here? Oh my goodness, looks like Fischer random chess really.
Yeah, that's true. What happened after he came?
So he actually played bishop takes d4 and d6, and I remember that was kind of the idea in his line. f4, knight c6, knight c3, e5. So like white is really like kind of aggressively pushing for that.
Knight
but
e4.
Then he went back.
Knight c5, show 8.
So like there is a lot of like tempo play attacking here, and then he developed with a bishop f5, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
Blocking the pawn storm and everything. b4, knight e6, and bishop b2. But okay, that's a strong bishop. What do you do here?
Like, I mean,
what would you play?
I play. I don't know. I'm worried about so many things. Like, I mean, in the long term, you can see white maybe going for h3, g4, right?
But we will be able to keep it for like you don't have to castle yet.
That's true. Yeah.
I was thinking like maybe even play like g5 and c6, like blocking both the bishop on a2, and for a while also the bishop on b2, right? Because like it will hit its own pawn.
So then maybe even this game black doesn't castle. Like it just goes h5, and then just.
Yeah. So like basically, let's say. Let's just maybe put some moves on variations like d5. Let's say white plays knight c3.
c3, c6.
Well, you don't even have to play c6, but I think you want to in the long run, probably. So let's say c6. c2, by the way, is hanging at some point. But okay, like white probably doesn't really have to defend it now, and then like h3, h5, and then maybe black is okay. I mean, like the bishops on a2 and b2 are for now. It's the only downside for black. I don't know how easy it's to organize like something constructive, you know, like what do you play? So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe like try to prepare h4, get a knight on f5
Oh,
if you
but
can.
castles, I don't like that move. I don't know.
Oh, he just castled.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it's probably alright, but
yeah,
it just doesn't look very natural.
solid.
Yeah,
I think white needs to take on d6 one way or another. And okay, maybe
yeah.
he just wants to get his development going, but I don't like that at all because like after that, both bishop on b2 and on
It will come out.
a2. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Looks
I
like there's nothing,
I
or
don't
maybe
know.
it's still okay. Like,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
white's not really developed enough to do anything. Yeah.
but let's say if you imagine that they are getting kind of pieces into the game. Let's say take, I don't know, like even some stupid move like I don't know, knight a3, then take rook to d1.
Mm,
Maybe well, knight on a3 is also a stupid piece. I know
yeah.
that. So maybe white doesn't have to do it. Like maybe you just want to play knight d2 first, like not allow black to extra development. Okay, well let's see. But like if he wants to block, maybe like castling was not the best idea because like I really like that rook on h8 for the moment.
Then maybe he doesn't want to block. There's some other plan in mind.
Apparently not, but then I am worried for black safety in this game. So, okay, let's move to the second board. Oh wow, look at that. That was a lot of development since we last saw it. So actually, we dropped off at the move number 12, and after that, the next move we kind of guessed correctly. So black did play knight d4,
And before.
and then he exchanged,
H5,
got
H6.
knight on d5, king h1, and then he. Why did white have to play queen d1? I'm not sure.
Why?
Well, it's not wasn't doing too much on a4 probably, but
A4.
I was
Like, why
thinking
not just move a rook somewhere, like rook c1 or rook d1?
like
Somewhere.
maybe he was afraid of something like I don't know knight e2, but I don't see anything happening there.
I guess maybe he just wants to go, because now you can't play rook d1 because there's always b5. So maybe he wanted to get rook on d1 somehow.
Well, but if you're putting the queen there, it's not exactly what you're. He also allowed black to get the rook to c2, which is scary,
Yeah.
super scary. Hey, we get the first result on 6 board. Hey,
Oh,
that was quick. So congratulations to Lauren Rice. So she brought the first point for us today, and that was really efficient, quick.
yeah.
Well, let's get back to board 2 because I'm really worried for Sanghi.
I don't know. As in, I even think this whole idea of like bishop g5 and bishop takes f6 doesn't seem very right in the first place, because I mean, if you look at the positions after that, right? Like black's bishop is just better than white's.
Yeah.
So any
Yes.
position you get is just not very good.
Yeah, it's. I am concerned about white. Like if black just keeps on. If black keeps on kind of the structure, I think he's going to be statically better. And also the rook on c2 is just a monster.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Like if you need to quickly cook some kind of, but I don't believe it's really possible. Like knight on d4 controls all that.
I assume Xiang Yi will start sacrificing and exchange on d4 somehow. I mean,
Well,
I will probably do that.
That's a lot to sacrifice. Also on b2 eventually,
That's true. But I mean, otherwise, I don't really see any plan for white.
I don't see any money even with the sacrifice. Okay, well he played queen g6.
Queen g6.
So is he threatening anything like taking on e5 and f6 something? I don't think so. What is it?
No, I think I.
What is the queen doing on g6?
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure he wants to play rook d1 and then rook takes d4 and then e5 and then just win.
And then maybe like I don't know. I have another idea. Bishop h3 and f5. Like, but it's like 4 tempi. Rook d1 take bishop h3, bishop f5, and yes, then it's
yeah. I don't know. As in, I think everything starts from rook takes d4 here. There's no other choice.
Maybe you're right, but I'm thinking like black can actually has the time all the time in the world, like even like something stupid like, I don't know, rook, queen a5, queen d2.
Yeah.
Okay, like then you play rook d1, and then I need to take on b2 and take on a2, and maybe I think I am fast enough to do it in time, but okay. I think I would say it's concerning for me for white's position, also time-wise, like black is like 10 minutes,
Yeah,
white is 3.
I mean, if the times were reversed, maybe it'll be very different, but I mean, the way it is now.
Yeah, well, I think maybe he just doesn't like his position that much. So, I mean, probably one explanation. Okay, let's leave it for the moment and move to board 3,
Okay.
where white just played c5, and that might be actually a nice shot. c5, because you cannot take on c5 many times because of knight takes
Knight
e5.
takes e5.
And that's unpleasant, actually. Let's just calculate it for the moment. I will put these lines on the board. So b takes c, I take with the knight e5. Is there any trick that we can come up with, like queen
Maybe
a4?
queen a4.
Yeah,
maybe queen a4.
that
Then
could be actually
black might be okay.
No, white will have to play rook c1, I guess, right, to keep that, because you cannot take and you cannot.
No, but you can't play rook c1, right? Because
Why?
if I take on c2 and play rook takes e5, something like that.
No, but it's still not enough because
c5
will. Oh, rook e5, bishop e5, and then you want like knight d3?
Somewhere like knight d3. Yeah, but then
no, it's like rook b1.
Rook c7.
Rook b1. Yeah, no, it's probably too much. But okay, that's even after rook ac1 in that variation that I'm showing right now on the board. It's still playable for black, but just like it's probably better for white after.
I mean,
I think like maybe like bishop a6 after that at the end of the variation, right? Like try to get like something like knight d3 somewhere in a different setting, right? Like okay.
And also the bishop now is not attacked. Like in
at the end of the variation it's also not attacked. You're right. So that could be an interesting one. Okay, so for now, okay.
I think before Tianjun,
she just took. And I think she's probably going down.
We can stick around to see what she's playing. Probably queen a4, right?
I'm pretty sure there is queen a4, right? I'm even putting that as a guess on the board so that I can I can win the guessing contest on chess.com. I'm usually the one to guess anyway. Yay! It's right there, and I will probably play rook c1 because I don't see really any other sensible move.
Oh, actually, I think rook c1 doesn't work because queen takes c2, rook takes c2, maybe knight takes d5.
Rook takes c2.
Oh, but no, because I was thinking like.
Oh, I see the point. You want to take on e5, but after if I take, I'm
then
opening
knight d3 something. Like
no, but I will just take. No, you do it a different way. No, still not enough. I was thinking like bishop e5, and after that knight d3, but the same story, rook b1.
Yeah.
It always comes back to that, so that's probably not working. I don't think it's working. So I think like in that variation, we need to do something like
actually, maybe you don't even need to do so much tactics, like because like let's say we just leave the position as it is, right? I think the e4 pawn is quite weak. Like
yes,
I don't think white's knight can do anything. White's knight can really move from e5.
Well, yeah, but you still need to do something, don't you? Right. So,
like
by the way,
takes c2 and bishop e6.
Yeah, so that's something like that. I think that's the probable continuation. Can you no, it's actually a very strong. I think it might be a good initiative for black. I mean,
yeah,
it looks nice on paper, but like white is stuck. Yeah, so probably that's probably an interesting option. So white just played rook c1, and so we are probably going to see that. Yep, she did take, and after that, I probably, let's say, no, she played knight a4. Okay, that's actually an interesting idea because then everything is hanging for white immediately.
Yeah.
Can you take?
I cannot take on c7. Oh no, actually you can't.
You can, but
No, but then just bishop e6, right? Then yeah, everything's still hanging.
no. I was thinking like let's say bishop c7. You take on b2. I take on f7, and I have a lot of things under attack.
Mm.
So let's say after knight a4, right? I take on c7. I think you need to take on b2, right? Oh, sorry, bishop a6.
Maybe. Oh, I didn't see f7 was hanging, but I think bishop e6 still. Maybe not.
Bishop a6, and I take on f7 anyway. I don't have anything else. But I don't know. I mean, it's actually unpleasant. d6 is hanging. Yeah. And you need to take on b2, so like you lose the tempo on that, and after that I take on d6, and I'm having a lot of pawns. At least I'm clear. I mean, I'm not saying it's like fantastic for white, but it's. Wait.
Oh no, actually, just rook takes c7, bishop takes d5, right? Does that work?
Yes. Something like that. I also realized d5 was hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right.
Okay. Knight f3 here. So.
What did she play?
Knight f3. White played knight f3. Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. So like your point is like you cannot take on b2 and take on something because b7 is hanging. But what if I play bishop a6 now? c7 is also hanging. Oh my goodness, so much hanging.
Yeah.
Knight d5 now? No, that's protected.
But I just take on g7.
Yeah, take on g7, take on d5. Wow, that's complicated.
I think black should just take on b2 and then just play like bishop a6.
Bishop a6, right? Okay.
Yeah. Then white maybe plays rook c2 again. Then
take bishop a6, and you have to move the rook somewhere. So yes, c2 attacking the pawn can be unpleasant for black. Wait a second. No, again, like I want to take on d5 and then works. Bishop d3 maybe at the end of that variation, and like then mass exchanges. I want to get rid of the weak pawn on c7 if I can, and maybe I can.
I think it looks like it's gonna happen. Bishop d3 here.
Rook c2. It's actually all on the board now. But it's actually scary because at the end, if you continue the line, you can like play knight g5 for white, and that's probably f7 is hanging, and black bishop and rook are kind of misplaced, like they're not really taking part in action. So maybe you have to defend on c7 first. I don't know. It's tricky, so it can really go south for black if not accurate. Let's check this next board because on board 4 we are really low on time.
Oh, and there's also
but like for both opponents, right? And it's complete mess.
Yeah. So when you actually guessed correctly, after d5, knight b4, king b1, e5 was split, and I played bishop e2, which is also correct.
Yeah, but like black just ignored, like she said, okay, go and take it.
Oh yeah. She just sacrificed a piece.
And now she really needs to get her king out of danger. I think you have to play something like.
You can just play like queen b3 here, right? You know.
You can play rook b1. I was thinking like rook b1 first, because you cannot go back with the queen, right? Like rook b1, and then, or maybe actually you're right. No, I don't like bishop b3 because no, actually I don't.
No, queen b3. There's like there's other things as well, but. Yeah, what about if just rook b1?
Rook b1. I was thinking like, okay, black has to play queen a2, I think, right?
Yeah, but you're not threatening anything, right?
Like, yeah, well, I was afraid like of bishop c3, but it seems like okay, you still have the knight, so it's not a threat. So you just take, and there is nothing. So you have to probably play queen a2, and then you can even just take the pawn on d4.
Take on d4, right? Yeah.
I don't know with what. Maybe with
probably just rook. The knight seems.
The rook you can, but then I will play something like queen a5 and try to attack with the c5, and the king is still stuck in the center. That's what's worrying me.
But then, okay, so if rook b1, queen a2.
So like I'm thinking like if we rewind all the way back, I'm really thinking like maybe your suggestion of knight b3, original suggestion. Well, no, then you can take on b3, rook a2 check, and at least it looks unpleasant. I don't know if there is anything.
Or you can play rook b1, queen a2, queen b3, you know.
Yeah, combine both. That's a good idea. And then if black goes, where does black go? Like if you go back to a5, I take with the queen, and yeah, black has to lose another tempo. If you go to a7, I can even play
bishop e3.
But then black plays c5. And then you take on b4 probably, right? With the knight. Okay, the king is still in the center, so there is no way around it. Like there is still king in it, but maybe it's not that much for black, and it's a lot sacrificed.
So do you play queen b3 first, like without rook b1?
Which is fine. Okay, at least we know that it guarantees her queen exchange. But maybe I did not like it that much. I was thinking like something like take, rook a2 check, king e1, rook e8. I'm really worried like of getting mated somewhere suddenly. Maybe not, but it's scary. Yeah, and she's going for that. And I'm not liking that too much. But okay, like let's see, like the game goes on. And by the way, there is also some tricks you can do. Like there is maybe knight b4 is being threatened at some point. But okay, like I probably wouldn't have wanted. Unfortunately, we lost on board 1. So Jingyao went down, and I think it kind of went down to that scenario that we were afraid. Like basically, white just doubled everything like on these diagonals, and then he just blundered.
Oh no, Jingyao blundered.
Yeah, 21. Move 21 is just a blunder, right?
Yeah.
Like play something like f6, and maybe the game goes on. I think you have to.
No, f6 just g4, right? Does that work?
Oh.
G4 and f5. Yeah.
Well, at least you can. No, okay, that's unpleasant. You need to go. Yeah. No. Okay. Wow, that's bad. But that's exactly the kind of scenario we're afraid of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was actually probably already.
Queen g3 is quite strong. Like I don't really.
Yeah. Okay. After that was a massacre. Okay, so we lost on game on board 1, and unfortunately we lost on board 2 as well.
What happened?
Well, yeah, like more or less what we were afraid. Like black just took all the pawns on the queen side, and then then it looked like actually okay for a while.
Wasn't that? Yeah, it looked okay, but I think time.
Either that or I mean it's still unpleasant to be honest. But okay, like it's. And then black just went all in on attack, and that was that. Yep. Okay, it was just me. Yep, that's two losses on the first board. On the board 3, on the other hand, I think we have really good winning chances here.
Yeah, I mean
she has an extra pawn and 2 bishops, so like unless white can really quickly escape into opposite squared bishops, which I don't think is happening. The only thing like bishop on a2 is kind of. She's taking on d5, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm Tianyu will win this probably.
This must be winning.
Yeah.
Must be winning. Fingers crossed, but it must be winning.
We haven't looked at Qing'an's game yet, right?
Say again?
And there we haven't looked at the board 5.
Yep. Okay. What's going on there? Oh wow.
What is going on?
Math as usual. He seems to
be
really
right here.
What?
I don't know, like.
No, but the bishop on c4 is hanging, no?
Yeah, so rook f6.
Oh, wait a second. That must be losing for white. I mean, I just take on
Yeah, I mean,
c4
you
and then
probably
I
get check.
start checking and mate must be coming. No, I think you need
Oh,
to sacrifice. Oh, he just took. Oh,
right, because you cannot take anything. I mean,
you know, you can take. You have to take, but you have to take the rook. Not you couldn't take the bishop. And now he's trying to unravel like that same thing. Like he wants to get like maybe queen b8 now. You know what? I would play queen b8. But white can now probably try to escape, like exchange the queens.
Queen 8 check, then this might just simplify to some.
It might be a draw actually. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But like black will have to take care of a5 pawn. So like let's take queen check, exchange bishop e8, rook c5. I have to play, right? Probably, or yeah, because otherwise a4 is always a result.
But I can just play like a6, right? And then
rook a5.
Pawn, but then bishop c6. Like I just don't care.
Yeah, I will exchange all of that. I think white will still. I mean, black still can play on. I mean, probably not for long, but
I think that's like not very high win chances.
Yeah, I was actually thinking even more. Oh, he took on a4. Wow.
That seems not very wise, but okay. Oh, because queen cannot go out.
Yeah, but like I think what he's doing is all right because h2 is hanging. You can take on h2 now.
Yeah.
He checked.
Sure.
Why
okay, but if you take on h2,
white is winning. White is trying to win this. I'm telling you.
Yeah. White looks like he's trying, but why? Like, because of the score.
Why not take on a3 in the previous position? Why he didn't take on a3 and like white will have to defend? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's all played on seconds.
Yeah, so I mean we're playing on time increment now. I don't think
it really has like a stronger nerves there.
Yeah. But it's still quite dangerous for black though. Like
yeah, like if white gets like bishop e4 now, you really have to worry.
And
I think he had to clear that a little early, like with it. Oh my goodness, I'm afraid he's getting into this kind of bishop e4 stuff. That can be unpleasant.
Rook e8.
Rook e8. What about queen f5?
Queen f5?
Queen e6?
Then queen e6.
Yeah, but like after that you might just lose. Oh,
king g8.
What is going on?
I mean, okay, there's no mate, but also.
And also bishop d5 is now a threat. Or like just take, oh no. You have to play queen f6. Wow, that's enormous. That you have to be really kind of nerves of steel to play that. Queen
queen e6 check.
Queen e6, queen e6, queen e6. Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's over. And you have the exchange. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That's a lucky break. Okay, so we're now 3-2, believe it or not, because on board 3, so Chen Yun also won. So it's all down to the last game, which is what?
Oh, but it looks like a draw, right? Yeah.
Depends. Like,
is it not? Like, rook c6.
And just go back.
Yeah, this is a draw. Right?
I hope so. I don't know what to think. But yeah, I mean, like, I cannot imagine that being lost.
Yeah, this is a draw. Like rook d5,
check.
Rook e4 check, and then then draw.
Yes, I think this must be a draw. Yes! Oh my goodness, let me just double check. So we lost on board 1 and board 2. We won on board 3, board 5, a little bit of a lucky break, but we'll take it. Board 6.
Board 6.
And
then there was a draw on
so
board
we
4.
did win the match.
Yeah, we won.
Oh my goodness, this is wow, victory. This is fantastic. I mean, like, okay, like that's. I was a little bit nerve-wracking, especially like on board 5 with Ching on. It's like I'm pretty sure he was lost at some point. And yeah, but whatever, you know, like in the end of the game is as you were saying, like it's all on increment. So whoever was whoever missed the last trick, and it so happened to be the Latvian player and not ours. So amazing. So we won against. Let's maybe just look at the. Let's look at the results. I have a different window somewhere there with the results. Let's see if they updated that. So I'm looking at the chess results right now. So they already wrote down our victory.
Yeah.
Let's look at the other. So Moldova is playing really neck to neck with the Association of Physically Challenged Players for the disabled players. Romania won their match against Israel with 2 games to go, but they already won it. Slovakia won against Austria. Greece is still, there are 2 games in progress, but okay, let's assume Greece is also winning. So Greece won, Slovakia won, Romania won, Singapore won, and the last match is still kind of hanging in the balance. So let's look at the cross table. So that actually improved our position in the table to, like, at least for now, shared 4th to 7th place.
We crossed Latvia, right? So like 5th, 6th.
Yeah, I think like right now we're sharing places from 4th to 7th, but okay, it might still change with some of the results.
Wait, who qualifies?
They are the first 3 teams, so I'm afraid that's probably gone. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but to be fair, Romania, Greece, and Slovakia, the leaders have very strong.
Yeah, so like I'm looking at Romania, and imagine that we got all of these 3 teams on day 1. Talk about lucky and not so lucky, right? So.
I mean, like, Romania looks like half their Olympiad team came. No, the entire Olympiad team came. So I mean,
yeah, like I think Olympia won, and he was joining me for the match with Romania. Was saying like he actually checked they had like number 1, number 2, number 6 player on the Romanian team for this online Olympiad. Right?
Yeah, no, I think because when we were in Batumi, we played Romania. I think it's the same players, apart from one guy.
Yeah, well, we can actually check it there. We can check the lineup, and yeah, like they have like what, 4 grandmasters, couple of international masters, 2 women grandmasters. So very, very, very experienced team. So no wonder. And Greece is also quite loaded,
quite strong. Yeah.
And I think only Slovakia came with a slightly weaker team that they could have, and like where the captain who was joining me on day 1, he just said like, okay, the people had already other commitments, but they seem to be doing well. And also their first board, the very experienced veteran player, Lyubomir Stashnik, he's like must be 65 years old now really, but he scored 5.5 out of 7 on board 1. So yeah, like they're doing good. So I think the outcome of our group is mostly decided. I honestly cannot imagine the scenario where Slovakia can drop 2 matches in a row to Latvia and Israel, and and Romania and Greece already guaranteed themselves the places in the next division. So I think it's probably going to be Romania, Greece, and Slovakia. But
or maybe Israel, like who knows?
What?
I mean, looking at the cross table, like even Israel can fight, right?
If they win the match
right now, they're playing
yes.
Slovakia, so they're playing Slovakia and Thailand. So
give me a moment.
I mean, if they beat Slovakia, they might give them a run for their money.
No, but like I think they're mathematically out because.
Oh right, yeah.
They need to win both, and that means Slovakia is the only team that anyone can catch, right? Greece and Romania, they're already like 5 match points away, and we only have 2 rounds to go, right? I'm checking if there is any games that are still incomplete, but no, it's all done, right? The round 7 is done. So it's only Slovakia.
Technically, we can catch up with Slovakia.
Moldova.
Like if they lose all their matches.
No, I think only Moldova can catch them technically because they have now 8 points. But for that scenario to play out, Slovakia would need to lose to both Latvia and Israel, and Moldova will need to beat Romania, which is very unlikely.
Yeah.
And of course, they need to beat us. So that's the next round. That's the round that starts in 15 minutes. But so I think probably Moldova has theoretical chances. But yeah, like if I would be betting, I would put my money on Romania, Greece, and Slovakia to come through confidently into the next round. But we'll see. Again, only 2 hours to go. And somebody is mentioning in the chat window that we are also in a next group, in Group A. Maybe just let's take a quick look at that. So they're saying Indonesia qualified, and I think they're already over. So like that's the end of the. They started early. Indonesia made it to Division One. So congratulations to the Indonesian one. They just kind of outscored Australia, Philippines, and Belarus in a tournament table. So they actually finished 1 point ahead. So Bulgaria, Germany, and Indonesia, these are the three teams that are qualifying out of Pool A.
Division 2.
Yeah, so they're going to play in the Division One with the big guns. So congratulations to our neighbors, so to speak. In board in Pool C, it's actually okay. Anybody's games, and I think they're later than us. So maybe we'll just take a look at that after the end of the our rounds today, like closer to 9 p.m. So I think that's it for round 7, and so we're going to break, and I think this is it for you, Junwei, right? So like thank you so much for joining me for round 7, and like you're really you're a lucky charm. So like with you joining, that's probably what helped us to win that on board 5, and a really crazy game.
Yeah. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me, and so for everyone who is joining us, so we will be back online at 7 p.m. So the next match is actually with Moldova, who still has these chances to qualify for Division One. Thanks everyone. So break for like 12 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Okay. I don't think I played him actually, but I'm pretty sure we came across in a couple of tournaments together, or at least like playing in the parallel tournaments. Players there though, so I really cannot say too much. I was just checking their ratings. So, for example, what I found out the second board, uh, um, Shitko Ivan, I think that's probably the spelling. Uh, he is close to Grandmaster rating, so like 2470, give or take. But yeah, like if you're going outranked quite significantly by the player. So Chingaon is playing also like with a player who is like international. So I'm seeing that there is like in a chat that there is at least one person who cannot hear me. Can somebody else like can someone just let's put that question out there. So if you're hearing that, please post that, confirm that you are hearing me. Okay, just to be on a safe. Okay, so okay, fantastic. And so Bungban just also mentioned that he can or she can hear me. We're on, we're live, and the games have started. So let's start going there. The first board, okay, like another Pirc. We saw Pirc defense in the previous game, which we okay, like we dropped it the most. Say I would say relatively kind of modest variation, if you can say that. Can we finish third? And I'm afraid that the answer is no. I mean, like I think that it's out of the question now because like I was checking the results, right? And the top three teams, they have 13, 12, and 11 points respectively, right? like theoretically, if we win two remaining matches and Slovakia loses both of them, it can happen, but it's an outside chance. Um, Probably more like Grunfeld defense, some kind of a delayed Grunfeld. I remember Glishuk, the Russian grandmaster, was like the first to play this kind of knight e3, like so basically instead of playing knight c3, you are delaying that by one move, and then like you essentially you lost the tempo, but black cannot take the knight, so and as a result, so the knight has to go to a less desirable position. It's again not the end of the world, but just like it's topical variation. I know that there were a lot of discussions here, so there is quite a bit. So yeah, bishop g5 is a nice move. You kind of try to make it more difficult for black because, like, I mean, you would never want to play f6. That would kill your own. But then you need to react to the. So you just played queen d6, and okay, well, it's not ideal because the queen is the worst possible blockader. So yeah, I mean, like it's knight g5 was kind of these days. And yeah, I mean, okay, it's not the variation I know very well. Or interesting g3, so to play bishop f4 as well. And okay, normal development. These kind of positions, they're interesting and also I would say tricky a little bit because if you're asking computer, and I did that as well, I played that also in correspondence chess as well. Computer always something to black in the meantime, right? Like it's really solid. So yeah, there it is. Black is completely caught up in development. So it's now on equal footing, and then you can play again like another few, I don't know, like moves like I know h6 or rook e8 or something, and started as Sicilian Rosalima, bishop g7, c3, e5. E5 is you want to play that to kind of prevent d4, but the problem is like you see, white is playing that anyway. And after all of these exchanges, bishop f4, yeah, that's the problem. Like basically, white is quickly getting this bishop on d6, and it's really unpleasant. So you castle, and okay, bishop c4 also makes sense. So basically, like what black wants to do is play like maybe rook e8, right? And then maybe attack the bishop on d6. Like you need to get it out because otherwise the bishop will be. 4 is probably going to be like an idea of maybe queen b3, attacking on f7, so like black cannot play rook e8, and now black needs to invent something else. tournament, and actually Chingaon was having these in the previous round, and yeah, it didn't work out very well for him. Uh, on the other hand, we also saw a variation with Liu Xiangyi where he maybe just kind of published that game after the end of the Olympiad. That was a really nice one. I don't quite get what the sides are doing in this variation. I just don't understand it that well. I mean, okay, black is ultra solid, and okay, white decided to castle long and maybe try to organize attack, but it's not going to be easy. You know, like squares and also, okay, well, he exchanged. Maybe he's probably doing more of the positional play, but also like at some point, like probably black can start bothering. That's going to be a disaster. So you're down a piece for nothing. So what can black do? You can maybe take here, and then you need to take a pawn back. You need to win back the pawn. And now we need to make sure again, like we're not losing anything immediately. Knight a5 could be unpleasant. But maybe it's playable. Like you take, white takes, and then you play e6, or no, it's actually forget e6. I would just play rook d8 straight away, and then black is much better developed, and bishop on c1 is still stuck. So no, that's playable. So maybe that's what I would recommend. This thing. It's not. Yeah. Okay. Well, white has much better options at her disposal as well. So b4. Yeah, that's bad. Oh no, stupid me, knight c3. No, it's not so easy. Okay, the variation there actually could continue because like here, and the knight is doomed. But okay, like that at least makes b4 much more difficult to play, and you can take play this, and maybe something like I don't know, even knight 5a4. Unclear. So yeah, like another situation where I'm going to use this kind of a cop out, right? And yeah. So let's see what's going on there. She did something else. She played knight db4, which take. Let's put it in the word. I'm not sure I'm a believer in knight bd4. Although it does make sense if you can make. Oh, you cannot take on ft1. Oh my goodness, I was thinking like, no, that doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. So I basically check, take, and I was thinking like knight c2, but then there is this guy. No, this is lost. So knight db4, knight f5, you cannot take on d1. Then you have to take here, but then it's already really bad for white, for black. Yeah, like Same reason, like you take on continued and okay, so like bishop f5 is probably mandatory because you want to prevent e4, and also b5 is another option where it's yeah, okay, like he pushed out our blockader, but if black can push the knight d6 now, right? It's kind of a stupid variation, but you want to put it on the board that this is not a threat, right? And then go bishop b3, and g4 is a permanent weakness, so no one would ever do that. But otherwise, the bishop doesn't have many squares. So maybe like if you were white, you might want to think about something like rook c1, and then g4 is already a threat, right? But okay, then black can play something like this. Can you do that? You cannot take, well, you can take, but then I can go back. So, and if I go play g6 straight away, I can take here, here, here. So that doesn't work. Okay, so like it's probably not entirely clear what's going on there. So yeah, in that position. So he attacks bishop c5. And the key variation to calculate now is knight c2. Right, because if that doesn't work, black could be into some trouble. But maybe it does work. So knight c2, you take, I take, and probably white has to pick up that. Probably has to pick up that pawn. And okay, like in the worst case, you can probably even just try to do it with the force line. I'm taking, take, bc. Okay, that looks scary. That can be just outright losing if like white can go d1, d8 check, and we're completely misplaced, to be honest. That can be bad. So the only other move that comes to mind is knight a6, but that's a horrible move to play. And also g4, by the way, after that comes into consideration. Difficult. That's right. And try to attack on d5. Maybe that works. Let's keep it at that. You know, like sometimes when you're, at least you're playing on the board,
Okay, how about now? Okay, so I think I'm back in the game. Apologies again, like some technical issues. I hope that you can hear me now. Just quickly checking that it's all working. If anyone can post on the chat or here on WhatsApp that you can hear me, that'd be really appreciated. Okay, now let's roll to the next board because I think yeah, that is unclear. I think here just something happened because I think white just won a piece for a very funny reason. That's again like remember, like I was always saying that our grandmaster here is really tricky. I fell for that many times with her. So the point here is you're playing bishop g6, it actually doesn't save anything because of f5, and you cannot really take because of the, well, back rank mate, right? So after seeing that, the opponent decided to kind of bail out after taking on g4 on b2. And yes, you can claim some compensation there, but it's not much, right? So like if you just carefully cover the c3 pawn, you don't want to give it up. So like I don't, let's say queen f3, and then you want to play knight c4. I wanted to play knight c4 also on the previous move, but that was kind of too much. I think it's okay. Like okay, black cannot play bishop, sorry, b5 before. You want to kind of break this pawn formation, but probably you cannot really do that. So okay, so that was a nice trick. Again, like tactical tricks is something that is really working well for our leading scorer. So she's like right now, I think 5.5 out of 7 points. Really impressive. And she played queen g3 instead, like also like covering f3, but like not allowing dark square, like bishop h4 or something to that effect. I mean, I probably would allow it, but okay. At least that's material, right? The only thing, like how much pawns we already give up, 1, 2, 3, 4. So like it's actually a piece for 3 pawns, so which is yeah, it's actually a little much, but I would probably still prefer it with white, especially if, let's say if we can get the knight to e5. Totally I'm preferring white positions. Board 4. So what do we have here? Yeah, we're still struggling, like we're still kind of struggling with this you know, like they call it a nail, like the white put a nail in our position here, and it's still difficult for black. So if there is anything I can recommend, is something like play like, I don't know, g5 followed by rook e8, and then like kind of unplug all the pieces. And the reason why, like maybe rook e8 even immediately, but then I don't want knight e5 to be an option for white. That's why I offered g5 first, right? But it's also kind of scary because the moment you do it, that you create an attack target for white. So it's challenging. Okay, so the game here went really far away. Interesting, black is implementing exactly the plan that I was showing, remember, like a long time ago. And so Chingaon decided to simplify here, but okay, that is already to black's profit, because like, okay, if you're looking at this formation, like this bishop is really like another pawn, like it's a big pawn. So if black can also get his knight into the game, it can get really unpleasant. So like strategically, white is struggling. But okay, at least he won back the pawn. No, okay, it's changing too quickly for me. I would say rook e6, bishop f4, sorry, queen f4. Okay, black is probably still for choice, but it's not so clear cut. Like if you imagine this bishop getting somewhere in the vicinity of black king, it can change. Like, you know, let's say bishop c7, and then like, okay, he played rook c7, which is even much stronger, because my goodness, that can be difficult to meet. Actually, I'm not sure I really get what black is planning to do now. f6, queen h6, and queen h6, and it's winning. Is it just a blunder, complete blunder? I think it is. I think we are looking at the potential point here for the Singapore team. At least I don't see a defense. Okay, let's see if black finds something that I don't see. The last board, so Lauren Rice, and I think it all kind of worked out for black here somehow. So knight f5, gf, and okay, like white did not go for that variation which I was showing, like take on d8, take on b7, or maybe just bishop b7 immediately, which I think was probably best. I think probably just bishop takes b7 was best. And then why not take? Oh, d3 you cannot take. Oh, maybe she missed that. She was thinking like she's winning that. Let's just show that. So it could be that in these positions, so she was thinking that d3 is completely gone, but what turned out, like you cannot take here because c1 is dropping. And then when white played knight c3, then you already are able to get it out. And the game is again unclear. How often I'm using that today in the broadcast, but okay, well it is unclear. And after a3, black has actually a lot of interesting options here. You can play knight d3 maybe again, or maybe you can play even like knight b3, which okay, it's probably too optimistic, but like the fact that you have all these choices shows that probably white misplayed it at some point of time. I think she was better, she had better options at her disposal. So let's see what happened here. She took and played. Okay, that's also possible. Okay, well, we'll get back here sometime later. Okay, board one. And Jingyao, and as usual, we're in for some really nerve-wracking chess and time controls, right? So he's a pawn up, but that pawn is probably going to go. Okay, he will be winning something else there on a7. Do you play bishop a7, rook c4, e5 maybe? No, that actually, no, it looks like actually rook b1. That's a good one. I missed that. I was thinking about that, but like not in this option. So you cannot take on c4 now because the back rank is really weak. Like that will be like black has to play something like h5, but that gives white a lot of time for like bishop, rook b8, check, rook b7, and then you attack both of these on the back rank. So okay, so like I think there is some chances here. So are we seeing queen h6? Yes, we are seeing queen h6, and that's over. I think that's just it. Expecting first point here on the board 5 in a couple of moments. Okay, these went bad unless black can really quickly organize some counterplay, and I don't see that happening, unfortunately. White has a lot of like he has 2 pawns. Sorry, 2. Ooh, that's a tricky one. So the idea, just to show what's the point here, right? Like rook d7, take, and the queen is hanging, and so that probably means that black has to play something like this. That's probably, or like, wait a second, how about checking here first? Can I check? Yeah, I would probably check. And at least I force you to go back, right? Otherwise you're just dropping the piece. So yeah, rook b1 probably would be my guess. And it, oh no, you can. Well, you can, but it's like it's just not great. Okay, well I think black is really struggling here. Okay. he did check, but I think like now white can play rook d1, and after rook queen b2, and there is really no other place to go. White can play something like knight d5. That would be probably challenging. Okay, that's probably not going our way that much. So let's move to some other board. Ooh, look at that! What's going on here? The usual mess, if I may say so. E6 is a really nice move, and it's a difficult one to meet. But like, let's maybe, yeah, like I was thinking like queen d6. But now white can do this. Yes, and she just did, and she's winning on the rook on d2, and basically it's resignable. And by the way, it's not even clear where black king goes, right? Like f6, you can go back to g7, right, and you win more. And here you can also take on e7, f7, right? And then whatever black takes, you have like these. So you like check. Yep. Okay, she implemented that. And if black takes with then you rook c7, sorry, bishop c6, double check, and mate. And or here you have like, oh no, okay, well that doesn't work. Now you probably just take the. Yeah, you probably just take that, and black resigns probably. You can even just like I would probably I would have saved the bishop. I don't see any reason with that. Well, okay, well, black resigned anyway. So 2-0, that's a good start. So it's yeah, like right now we can be a little bit optimistic about what's going on in this match. This position is about equal, and by the way, maybe better for black, because like, okay, we're threatening this, and the bishop on f6 is much stronger than this poor guy. And if white, for example, plays b3, and I think she has to play something like that, we can play rook c2, attacking this, and then also threatening bishop d4. I think you would probably want to play, I would probably, you know what, I play this. I would play this. That can be really, or rook c2. Okay, well, okay, I don't like this variation, unfortunately, because, okay, I understand she's simplifying, but that's simplifying to a draw. And I think she had much more to give in this position for black than this. I mean, like, white can now just take this, and like, the moment white exchanges a4, a5, it's probably going to be just a draw. On the second board, yes, it was over, like we predicted, so like it's 2-1. This game looks like about drawish to me. This game is, I'm really worried about time. I'm really worried about time for Lauren, and also about material. Knight c6, so now rook e8. Well, it's not lost yet. Well, okay, well, it is lost. Oh no, bishop b2 and rook c7. And then you need something. No, but something is not forthcoming really. No, I think it's probably, yeah, I'm afraid it's probably going to be lost. Like, my advice would be try to get like this and check on d1, try to get the you know, like the rook to d2, knight to g4, but okay, that's very wishful thinking, I'm afraid. So what's about Jing Yao? I don't like it at all. Because what do you do with the f3 threat? g3 is actually not much of a help. No, black will just play f3. No, that's not very good. Then black probably rook c2. You have to play now king g1, then he takes on a2, and like he can always repeat it like white. White is not in a good shape as here, I'm afraid. So, okay, this is lost. We just, okay, down a piece. It's going to be over very soon. And actually down the second piece in a moment. This game is as drawish as it ever gets. Yep, that's a draw. So it's really down to this game. I think it's really down to this game, and we need to hope that Jing Yao can save it somehow, even though it's very unpleasant. He probably needs to check again. Then probably, no, it's difficult. Damn, it's difficult. Then, yeah, I think it's lost. King h3, right? f2, you still have king g2, so that's still not the end of the world. Okay, now it might be the end of the world. You can check. That's the only tempo that you have. Bishop f4 is also an interesting idea, but what concerns me is like f2, king g2, and bishop d4, and then suddenly it might be very quickly over. Although you have to actually also calculate a little bit. Oh, look at that! That's a nasty one. What? Yeah, that was that. Yeah, that was that. Rook e1 was a very good move because like he's threatening mate, and let's say if you just go back f2 and it's resign. Yeah, I'm afraid. Let's see where it went south for us, because like for a while felt like White was just calling the shots, you know. And I think it went somewhere around here. Yeah, like you cannot take on g5. Oh, yeah, I should be doing that. Yeah, that was probably there. Yeah, well, that's not what I wanted. Anyway, so back to our score. So I think we lost this match, unfortunately, by the smallest of margins. Yep, we did. So 3.5 to 2.5, right? And that's unfortunate, but okay, that's what happens, and it was a close match for sure. So let's just check at the standings and how did they change. Moldova, okay. Moldova still has theoretical chances of overtaking Slovakia. Let's say Slovakia loses the last match. Well, but okay, for that Moldova needs to defeat Romania, so that's very unlikely. Both of these scenarios, I would say, are kind of unlikely to play out. For us, we only have one match left, and it's probably meaning that we are fighting for, like, let's say fifth place for now. That would be the best outcome for us, and even that is not a given. So either way, I mean, like, I think the result of our team so far has been really good, given like the circumstance and the strength of the opponents and everything, right? So it's a lot of close chess, like closely fought matches. We narrowly lost the matches to Slovakia and to Moldova, and I felt like both of these matches could go either way, you know. So it's the matches versus Romania and Greece were tougher, but they were also much kind of stronger than the rest of the teams. We drew with Israel, right? And by the way, I already saw like some of the lamentation by the Israeli team, like on the Facebook and like some of the chats. that they're like them drawing the matches with Singapore and like Latvia and IPC was not like in their plans. But okay, this is chess. This is online chess, and yeah. So obviously, it was a very good result for our team. Defeated Latvia, Austria, and Thailand. So now we have one match to go. So I think with these we will probably again we will break until 8 p.m. So please join me again like around like a couple of minutes before 8. I will be restarting that probably 2-3 minutes before the round starts. And let's watch the last game for our team in this competition. So for now, I will be doing a small break. And so, yeah, like if anyone is still around at 8 p.m., see you there. Sound check. All right, everything seems to be working. And because I have nothing better to do before the next round, I decided to start a little earlier for whoever is on the line. And let's maybe spend a little bit the remaining time just to look at some of the other games, because I wanted to check what was going on in the neighboring pools, right? So I decided to take a look at the pool C, where a lot of interesting teams are playing. Spain, there was this famous game that Alexei Shirov won, I think, yesterday, and I'm trying to find it right now. And there were also a lot of interesting upset results with like Anish Giri losing, I think, a couple of games actually. Yeah, Dvirny Daniil versus Shirov Alexei. That was the famous game that everyone was talking about, right? And I hope you can see that. And I think it was worth like replaying. Let's say Flipboard. Just wanted, like, if you haven't seen that, that's really something that you probably might want to check out. And yeah, like, why not me showing that to you? So like, it started as a very quiet line, like I would even say boring line with white. I'm saying boring because like I'm playing that with white, so it must be boring. And then yeah, so basically this is still theory. The idea is like you cannot take on h2 yet because b7 the b7 is hanging. Oh, here I cannot really kind of show the variation, but that's all right. So c takes d, and like king b1, and again, still like pretty much nothing is happening. So white is kind of trying to improve his pieces a little bit, get like to the open file. Queen b8. Black is still maybe like threatening at some point to kind of attack on h2, and that's why white decided to kind of finally resolve that problem, like went h4, which computer disapproves. Like computer says like e4, g4, h4 is probably not the best. Like I mean, like I would probably even play something like bishop d3, but that's even worse. So like that's why you should never trust my recommendations. So like look for something that the grandmaster is something. And then here finally black is castling. I think it's really becoming head-to-head combat, and a4 is interesting as an idea because like you like your king is on the side of the board, but the idea is like white is closing that with a5, and if he can get b4 occupied and everything, he's thinking like he's going to be better, right? And here what happens is this is really this classic Shirov. So like this is rook c4, so you sacrifice that, and like you can take, but then it's really kind of scary. Like let's say bishop c4, d takes c4, then b4, and all of that is kind of starting to unravel in all the wrong direction. I think you can still take, right? Like it's, well, the computer actually disagrees, but okay, so maybe not. But and this is still like not what I wanted to show. So here, by the way, I already saw somebody mentioned like here you could take on d4, e takes d4, bishop queen d3 check, and black is just better. Okay, rook d4, knight e2 is actually more strong, but it's still rook d3, and apparently black is better. But it's not why I'm showing this game to you right now. It is because of the following position. So right here, look at that, knight e4, and like hanging a queen essentially. But the point is like if you take the queen, black takes with a check, and then plays b3, and like then it's suddenly a mating construct on the side of the board. It's not the. It seems like white could still defend, and like white should have taken on g4, right? But it's really kind of it's difficult to calculate, especially imagine doing that in like in. Can I actually create that as a separate board. Well, I can't see an easy way of doing that, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, so white didn't take on g4, and like he played bishop e2, but then essentially black just continued kind of pushing more and more, pouring more fuel into the fire. And I remember like the reason why I saw this game was FIDE, like the International Federation, posted on Twitter, look at that, did Shirov just blunder a piece because of like g4, and like you have to give up a knight, right? Because like otherwise the queen is really gone. So, and then like I think half an hour later, well, no, it's like he didn't blunder. It's actually we blundered. Like he sacrificed and that was over, right? So basically, rook c1, king a2, and b3 is just mate, and it's a beautiful mate for that. So that's a really nice game, like, and I really wanted to show that. And another game I did not see, but I know that in the first couple of rounds, Anish Giri came to play for the Netherlands, but it didn't end really well for him. And I wanted to check what happened because, like, for example, this gave Daniele Vocatura defeated Anish Giri, one of the top 10 players, a candidate. Oh, okay, well, this is a crazy variation that I mean I can't say I really understand, but okay, it does exist. The whole line does exist, and apparently I might be confusing, but people even also take with a queen and then they play king d1. I'm not sure if that's the variation, but okay, like I think this one is also possible. Knight e5, and okay, that's a mess. Computer says that it's really like well and good for white. It's kind of hard to believe, but well, it knows better. Material is equal actually, so okay, a7 is a weakness, so that's suddenly you really you are losing a pawn for no compensation really whatsoever, and it's a difficult position to defend. Yeah, because and he blundered another pawn, bishop f7, and you can take, but then rook d6, the pawn is pinned, so he now 2 pawns ahead, and unfortunately bishop c5 is not working because it's a check. And if you take first here, take bishop c5, we go somewhere, bishop a7, and then like rook d7, rook c7, so the white is keeping that pawn. So yeah, that's pretty much a clean technical victory. That's the kind of the game you would expect actually Giri to play with white, but it so happened the opposite way, right? And I think it wasn't even the only game that he lost there. So, which is pretty impressive when you are seeing like what happened here. So that's a Tarrasch defense, Dubov Tarrasch, what they call. The variation that was popularized by the Russian Grandmaster Daniil Dubov, one of the more creative players that's playing right now. So like I definitely recommend everyone to check the games of that Grandmaster just for fun. I mean, like he's playing really interesting and kind of sometimes even a bit of a crazy, on the crazy side, chess. So yeah, it looks like black is doing all right, but there is always this variation where, again, like I only saw it a couple of times. I don't pretend to know the theory, but this is all still theory. So basically, black does sacrifice a pawn, but there is nice compensation. It's supposed to be fully sufficient compensation there because okay, I cannot mark it here, but like all the light squares around the kings are weak, and that continues even to the endgame. So like you can exchange it. But it's not going to make your life any easier, and like there is also bishop e6 attacking here, c5, or like putting on that. So okay, let's see. And after a few more moves, and I remember I also saw like Swidler, Peter Swidler playing that in the banter blitz against some random kind of person on a chess 24 and struggling to prove advantage here. And I think that's exactly what happened. Like like look at the knight on c1. It's a pretty lousy piece. And now like g5, so like you see like it's already like move 26, but the initiative persists, and that's the thing. Like it's really g4. Rook e3 is actually like a big blunder. You had to block g4, which kind of makes sense. You want to play g4 in this position. You don't want to allow it. And suddenly it was really bad. And he went knight h3, which computer disapproves, but like going knight f king f2 is also difficult because like you think like, okay, this rook might be pinned, and what do? You know, computer would think differently, but okay. And now did he just somehow mate him here? Yeah, I think like, okay, he had to basically exchange everything to prevent mate. Was just not happening. So there you go, like top 10 grandmaster playing online against, I don't even know how strong that person is, like from I think it was Estonian, right? So let's assume international master. So there you go, like online chess, and especially in this format, can be really tricky. And by the way, I think Netherlands was kind of fighting for survival in their group. Let me check how did that unfold after that. What was Pool C, I think it was, right? Going into the last round, into the last couple of rounds, anything is possible. I'm looking at the tournament table right now. I'm not showing that, but I'm looking at that. Like, there are 4 teams that are tied for 3rd place. And Italy who is second, is only 1 point ahead. So anything can still happen. Italy, Netherlands, Slovenia, North Macedonia, and Switzerland are still they have chances of qualifying. And that team also has Albania, that used to be our opponent in Division 3. Okay, so with that, that was like just because I had nothing better to do, and I wanted to double check what's going on in the other games, and maybe walk through some of the other games. We are returning to our last round, and actually let me, while I'm at that, let me remove the flag, because this is not going to be Moldova anymore. And I think I had a flag for our last opponents. Give me a second. I want to pay proper respects to the opponents here. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's just move that a little bit more to the right. And kind of align it with us. So I'm probably going to also say a few words about our opponents when the round starts. Just want to make sure that we are getting all the boards in order. Haven't seen the pairings yet. It's about time. I think it's exactly the same as we were in the previous round. Again, let me check. I think it's the same lineup that we had, so let me just close everything and restart again, and we'll be good to go. So I really want to say kudos, by the way, once again to our team. They are putting a really good fight today and yesterday, and actually on all days. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and just let me double check that I didn't miss anything. One moment while I'm double checking that the team lineup has not changed for us. Lauren on the last board. I think it is. And we're on. We're seeing the first game starting. So a couple of words just before we start about the opponents, because I know like this flag is not something that you probably would expect, right? And so I read up a little bit on this association. There are several associations that are not country-based, that are part of FIDE, the International Federation. So, and like this is one of them. So these association for the physically challenged, like handicapped players, primarily focused on the people with a kind of the handicapped mobility. And it was founded about 30 years ago, and they became a member of FIDE. and the main goal is just a promotion of chess and playing opportunities for the people with these disabilities, and creating also like their own championships, but also participating in a chess Olympiad. So they played in many chess Olympiads. Again, like along with a couple of other associations of this kind, like for example, for the people with a loss of hearing or loss of sight, right? So they are also two separate organizations that are part of FIDE. When I was back in Ukraine, one of the players, one of the coaches I worked with, he was actually coaching the team for the people with the hearing disabilities. So, and yeah, okay, this is one of these associations. As you can see from their lineup, they are pretty strong, right? So like you have a couple of FIDE masters, international masters, and they are from, they are not, they are not bound to one country, right? So basically, they unite the people from all over the world, like just by these principles. So in the team that we are meeting today, you have players from, I think, Philippines, primarily Russia, Ukraine, Israel, and okay, like the first board, I think, is from Philippines. Double check. Yep, that's exactly the case. So there you go, an international team and a strong team, and I think probably we are hopefully having some chances to win in this game, in this match. So like if you're just looking at where we are in the tournament table, our team is higher at the moment. Like we have 7 match points, and this team has 3. So but they defeated Thailand, for example. They drew with Israel, as I already mentioned in the previous hour. So it's going to be like a match either way. So let's go through the games. We already saw Boga Indian, this kind of setup from Jingjiao in the previous matches. So I think I'll just drop from here for a while because it will going to take some time for that games like to get really more interesting. Boga Indians always starts like on a quiet side in the beginning. So this position is also very typical for Liu Xiangyi. He is fond of this kind of Rosalima or like these what do you call it, slower Sicilians. Okay, let's put it that way. I think looking at this position right now, I would say black is at least equalized. Okay, I might be wrong, but unless white can somehow do something very quickly about the center, like like take on d5 and like attack the e5 pawn, right? Maybe exchange here, exchange there, but I don't see that happening. So I don't know. I think black is actually very comfortable here. I would probably take black in this position, honestly. All right, so now to our primary scorer. So, and I think this is one of the boards where you really have like a also some rating advantage, which doesn't mean too much. Another very slow Sicilian on the board. And so essentially it becomes like like a version of this. Yeah, well actually that's, you want to take with the knight, but an e4 was hanging, so bishop f3. So and yep, I think there is, it's about equal right now, so let's get back there. Board number 4. So Hazel Liu Yang, and I think we're already used to her playing knight c3. So it's still kind of shiver a little bit like every time this appears on the board, but okay, like that's perfectly playable, of course. Just like doesn't jive well with my personal like education, chess education, like like my coaches probably would not approve. But times have changed, the openings have changed, so that's all fine and I think I would have played at least h3 here, you know, like just to kind of make sure that black cannot exchange my bishop. She did not, which again, like no big deal, but I think that bishop was a kind of a prized piece. I would have tried to keep it if I could. By the way, another thing after, yeah, okay. For now about equal, I think the interesting question what both sides want to do next, right? Like for example, I'm not sure, like c3, is white preparing to play e4 maybe? But we need to be mindful, like black now has two bishops, so every pawn exchange here is probably kind of in black's interest. Like you let's say like you play e4 de and then you play c5 and then you're already opening all the diagonals for the bishop. Like maybe I would want to play like bishop e2 and maybe even exchange this bishop just to make sure that black never can claim a pair of bishops advantage, just only one bishop. Let's see what's happening. Black was really worried about something like knight h5 apparently. We'll get back here. Board 5. Again, this kind of a slow Sicilian is very popular here, but the most interesting part, if you're looking here, it started with the f4 as the first move. Now that's okay. Well, that's not something that's very common, but essentially after some transposition, like it all converted to like more or less, yeah, like this is the type of Grand Prix attack in Sicilian with by transposition. When I was a kid in this position, I would always think of f5, trying to push f5. Something like I was also teaching to my kids, but that's in a different scenario. You want like bishop on c4 for that, right? And like then you have like f5, queen e1, queen h4, and like use trifle-mate. Or otherwise, you might want to play like g4, f5, but every time you play g4, black would play a5 on their own. So, okay, let's see. Let's say about equalish, c3, d4. Okay, white is just expanding in the center, nothing wrong with that. I would want to play d5 and bishop knight f5 somehow, but this pawn is hanging. And you don't want to take, because white will never take with the pawn, he would take with a knight and like claim that d6 is backwards and weak, which it is. So bishop a6 is a nice way of like preventing that. Like after that you can play c takes d, and like what white can probably take with the bishop, but then you can meet it with an e5. Black is okay. I mean, I'm not sure I get why black wanted to play h6, but okay, there must have been a reason. So the question is what next for black in this position. It's always the question what's next. Okay, so let's just for now say that it's probably about, okay, queen a4. Can I play something like, I don't know, like bishop d3? I mean, I probably don't want to, but probably you have to play something like queen c8 now. So we have new people here in the chat. So in general, we're not getting a lot of interaction. Hi, Bohemian Rhapsody, a nice sneak. So what can I say? All right, queen c8 probably is happening. While we are at this, let's look at the last board in the game of Lauren Rice. I'm not sure what she's thinking. Like there is not really any other option by b takes c3. You want to play e4. You want to play bishop a3, or if e4 is allowed, you maybe want to move also in another direction. I would expect black to play f5 now. At least that's what I would do. I would try to prevent e4 from happening. But white can exist, you know. We can play f3, e4 after that. It's not so easy, but you can. Or maybe like, okay, let's put it on the board. Oh, she played rook b8, which I don't quite get. I mean, like I would play e4 without thinking twice. Yeah, I would play d4 without thinking twice. Really, like I was. But okay, this one is weak, so I cannot, like, I was thinking like I want to get out with a on that diagonal. It's never gonna happen. So black will probably just move here, or maybe a5. Maybe a5 actually. Maybe a5 is stronger, and maybe that's why I don't want to play a4. I want to play bishop a3 first. Right? Yeah, maybe that's a better one. And like if you play these, I can play this, and I'm good. So probably black would be better off playing something like that, exchange. And in the worst case, and I think that we need to do it, we need to start exchanging. We need to challenge black on a b file, otherwise it can get really difficult. So let's see whether it's happening or not. Yep, she did, and she did challenge the black on b file, so good for her. I think that's the right plan. Let's see. Okay, now you need to make a difficult decision. I'll probably take with the c pawn. Yeah, I would take with this guy. I don't want to, like, it also opens you an opportunity to start asking questions about, you know, like c4 might be a weakness too, right? Unless I'm losing something immediately, but okay, looks like I'm not. The only thing you need to calculate, like, a mass exchange is like c3 and black is pushing. That's a risk. So let's say like rook b1. Okay, that can be interesting. Okay, so we completed the first round. Let's see what's interesting. Any requests from the chat, from the viewers? We are such a small crowd that we can really decide what we are watching. Oh, look at that. That's an interesting one. Okay. I think the question how black solves the problem of development, like maybe you want to play c6 next, right? Because knight d6 will not work. We will just pin it and win it. Well, not win it. You can play knight c8, but that's okay for us. Knight c3, I would probably still play c6, right? But that can be tricky. Knight a4. Well, maybe not. Just go there. Rook d8. No, we should be fine. Should be fine. Yeah, probably c6 is in order because you don't want to allow knight d5 at any price, right? If you can, can white play e4? Maybe. Yeah, I think he must probably play e4, but then we can always try to kind of get hold of d4, like play bishop d4, then another rook here, then you drop back. Interesting. Oh, whoa, look at that. A lot of changes in the position since we last left it. So, okay, so at least Sangier invented a way to change the character of the position, which is good. Yeah, that actually a good expansion for him. Like now the point you also want to, and maybe you want at some point to take on d5, play knight c4. The knight on a3 was not really doing great, and black decided to prevent that. That's an interesting decision. So he played e5 here. Would I do that myself? I know, probably. Yeah. What I don't like in white setup is this square. Yeah, this is exactly. Okay, well, he's attacking d4 though. I didn't notice that. I completely missed it actually. That can be a problem. So let's say queen d6 doesn't help. You just push a little more and you win it. So somewhere around this point, you start to calculating things like rook c3, because otherwise you're really messed up. But maybe you can even take here, and I don't know, can you? Like this, like this, no? Maybe that even works. Bishop e5, I can even just take it if I want to, but I don't have to. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Oh, rook d3. Man, I'm missing that. Okay, that was stupid. So going back to that, you probably need to take then. And that can be double-edged, but at least we can get d4 in. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think that's the only thing that black needs to. Otherwise, he's just losing a pawn for no compensation, which he just did, right? Didn't he? Well, maybe not. He probably looking for some kind of a double attack. Check again. Let's say bishop d4, fe. I can take on a7, but that's scary. No, you. Oh, by the way, another interesting option. I can take with the bishop as well. Right? I can take with the bishop and at least get a really nice compensation. Well, if only our knight was also closer to the action, that would be fantastic. But even here, I think it's actually pretty decent because like of the weakness of all of these squares. And then maybe at some point of time we'll push d4 in, like lock the bishop there. Or, if we're not so fantasy oriented today, you just take. And I don't think there is any double attack here. Queen f6, you can do this. Or maybe e1, just to be on the safe side. e2 or e1? No, just e2, like bishop g4, f3. I think we're good. Okay, let's see whether that will happen or not. Let me also remove some of these analysis boards. Okay. Tam-param-param-param. White is thinking. Okay, let's move here. Oh, wow, again, like a lot of changes. So Chen Yun just sacrificed the pawn here. Like she's really going for the jugular here. Knight c5. That's an interesting creative sacrifice. So like you want to do d3, you want to do b3, and cd doesn't help you at all. Bishop c2 doesn't help you at all. This is difficult actually. And you attack e4. Wow, that's really, really strong. This is really good combination. I mean, like, it's yeah. Black is much better coordinated, so no wonder that's working. But it's still a surprise. Oh, so okay. White is already agreeing to like giving up material. You might not even want to take it, like, or you probably want to take bishop b3 anyway, and then for example, you might want to take on d2 instead of a1. You know, like take on d2, take on d2, dc. These guys falling. There is also like all sorts of knight g4. I think black is close to winning in this position. Okay, we haven't seen this game in a while. It's continuing relatively quietly, so suddenly it looks like what you call Dutch stonewall. Without actually, you might argue that the exchange of the dark squared bishop for a knight probably was okay-ish for white, because also like, I mean, okay, black, it's not like she shouldn't be complaining either. Okay, I think the only challenge is that white is kind of struggling for a plan here. So what would you do? And it's not easy actually to find, like it's in this kind of a complicated position. Sometimes it can be a challenge. Black will probably need to do like something like c5 at some point. Like now, for example, you know? Take c5. Kind of try to open for the bishop, but then becomes really double-edged. So okay, we'll get back here. This one, I think we just tons of material ahead, aren't we? It's like a queen for, yeah, it's a queen for two pieces, a queen and a pawn. No, it's just queen for, but it looks totally winning. What happened? Let's check what happened. Oh, he did play bishop d3. I was like half joking. But he connected that with the whole expansion on the queen side idea. And white did not take on a7 because probably it's just losing. Well, okay, at the very least, black had like rook a1, rook a8, rook a2, and he's better. But then black is like significantly improved his chances. And you achieved this d5 that you always wanted. Remember, like we just couldn't do it because c5 was hanging. It's no longer hanging. e5, knight, a5. Wow, black is fantastic. Like look at that. Like the bishop is behind the enemy lines. But still, how did white go so quickly, so wrongly? a5, queen a3. I don't get at all. Like I would always play a3. You want to keep at least the structure intact. I would. Again, not saying that I don't pretend to be always knowing the right answer, but to me, like queen a3 seems wrong, especially if you just went back from there. Yeah, and like I think what will happen eventually, he will probably just trap the queen there. Yep, that's exactly what happened. So, and the poor queen doesn't have anything to go, and everything is just because of that bishop on d3. That's kind of, yeah, like behind the enemy line. And after that, I think it's just going to be a demolition of the black's positions. He took on the c3. Why did he take on c3? And knight e3. I think that was unnecessary, actually. Why didn't he just take on d4 here? I don't get it. Oh, because of rook d2. That's why. But you still had to like rook b5. I don't know. I don't see why you had to do that, but oh, he sees mate. Oh my goodness, he will take on c3 now. That's beautiful. Yes, that's a point. That's a point right there. So like the idea is like, yeah, like it's a back rank mate. So white had probably to go to h3, but then it's probably also wasn't going to be holdable because like, yeah, you just, that's nice. Okay, that's really powerful conversion. So the first point for Singapore, congratulations. This game, so you probably want to take, oh, whoa, that's going to be oh, yeah. Let's just put it on the board so like you don't do things that I recommend. Like bishop f8 can run really badly into this thingy. And that's just lost. So I hope she's not falling for that. Okay, she didn't, thank goodness. That was a nasty trick. Yeah, okay, well, thank goodness that didn't happen. What about the pawns? I think white ended up winning that pawn. Remember, like we were talking, like c4 was going to be weak, and it was. So which, like, do you take with the queen, do you take with the bishop, or do you take with the pawn? I would probably take with the pawn, and I don't even know why. Just like feels more controlling the center and everything. Okay, like there is plenty of work to be done for conversion, but at least from the point of view of the material and everything, we're doing very well. So here we are again, like we have like some version of the stone wall, and I think black is probably a little better prepared for the opening, like c5. c5, although we can take on d5 and then play maybe like bishop a6, exchange it. d5 could be e5. No, I think probably black is a little better there. So yeah, like probably I would play c5 if I were black. You need to open there. Then maybe f3. Okay, complicated, but probably my gut feeling is probably black a little better, but okay. We'll see what happens. What about this one? What happened since we were away? b4, she didn't play knight b3. Am I missing something? I must be missing something if she didn't play. It was such a natural move to make. Well, she probably decided she's doing the same. Oh, because she's attacking on f2. Yes, that's why. She oh my goodness, stupid me. So she's doing everything the same, but with an extra pawn. After f3, why didn't she take here? Again, like probably for the same reason. Knight a2, dc, knight e4, and maybe we're mating, maybe we're not, but she didn't want that. No, probably I would have done it. Bishop h6. Desperada bishop. Knight d2. Okay, she just won a piece, so like that's conversion now. So okay, like I think this must be winning, one way or another. Okay, and what else we have here? That game, and basically what happened is Liu Xingyi won a pawn, and there was no tactics there because he like maybe that's what Black was counting on. He played Queen d6 like with a double attack, right? But White just calmly played d4, and it turns out like you can take, but then if e6 is dropping. And after bishop f5, the only thing there, the downside, like you have to put the rook at a slightly offside position, like the knight is kind of offside as well, right? And how much of the problem that is? Probably not too much of a problem. So probably you want to check, right, if you're black. I cannot put the move on the board for some reason, but you need to check. King h2. But White has attack here potentially as well, right? Like because this king is also weak. d5 is hanging as well, so probably rook c1 check bishop e4, or if bishop e4 straight away. That we can attack some of these pawns, black pawns. Like I think White is better. White must be better. Oh, and by the way, bishop e4 is bad because, like, for example, I can have queen g4 and like rook e6 is in the air. Okay, well, it's not completely clear, but now to the first board, the usual story time is a bit of a challenge. But position-wise, I think Black has enough activity. Like this, the pawns on the kings on the queen side are not fantastic, but White still doesn't have time to get to them, right? And like actually Black is the first one to challenge the pawn formation. So what White does now, like play f5 maybe just to keep everything close for the moment, or take fg and try to exchange the queens somehow. Okay, he did it differently. Then, for example, you can play knight e4, or I don't know if you want to play g4 or not, maybe not. Something like this, but it's actually not threatening anything. Yeah, like Black can also try to make some kind of general improvement move. I know, can a4 be a thing? b5? It's unpleasant, like you have like these really still a position that's still undefined, unresolved, probably is a better word, and you have like 40 seconds. That's a difficult one to do. Okay, oh yikes, what's happening here? Okay, I think this is over. So we can already congratulate the best player on our team. I mean, we could probably do it already a couple of rounds ago, but yeah, like so congratulations to Jian Yun. So it's definitely going to be the best performance, right? I think like 7.5 out of 9, so 2-0 for Singapore. So we are really going up ahead in this match. Let's check the two other guild boards. Oh, that's a problem because I think white just lost a pawn. And the way it happened was, yeah, black just basically asked. At these kind of positions, I'm really thinking like there is no other way. Like maybe just let's analyze these more for a moment. If you're in this kind of trouble, I think this move just needs to be played. Again, for better, for worse, but just like there is no other options. Here it could be actually pretty decent compensation. Because like you cannot take with the rook is hanging, so you have to take with the queen. And let's say, can I take? The only thing I don't have the back rank. But let's say knight d5, threatening knight f6. Black will probably play something like that. And I think this is over. Well, not really, actually. Not really. Let me just play something like g3 for example, right? I'm still threatening knight f6. I have a pawn. Like the king is exposed, so probably she will play something like that. But basically, what I mean to say, okay, this is probably like I'm getting into too much in the analysis. But like instead of just losing the pawn for essentially no compensation here, right? Oh, she does get compensation. Or she does not. Black plays rook h6, threatening mate. And after h3, or just like you basically defend it or go forward, c5. Yeah, so I think like tactically it just doesn't work. So like that's why on this move I would probably have sacrificed an exchange and kind of try to get the compensation. That was on this board, right? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Okay, h6, g3, yeah, okay. She also threw b5. By the way, now white does have compensation. b5 was a terrible move because like look at these guys. b7, bishop is never going to be a happy camper. Now white is, this is playable. This is totally playable. Okay, what happens here? We are close to queening, but it might be, okay, I don't believe in f4. I think you needed to go down actually, not this way around. But is there a check? f5. I think f5 needs to be played and there is nothing else. Actually, there is something else. You could play also instead of f5. After this, you could play knight c2. Threatening mate from behind. And that can be unpleasant. Yep, I think that could be perpetual. That's why like f4 I wouldn't want to play it. I would want to go back, you know, like yeah, she played knight c4. Damn. Maria Doroshkina is finding all the right moves, and also like maybe you have queen c5, queen f5, queen g2 as a threat. Like now she just goes here and nothing happens. Yeah, I think it's actually probably not going to win anymore. Actually, the chances are like you don't want to be on the losing side of that, because like if white drops d7 pawn, that suddenly becomes really anyone's games. What? What? Have you seen that? That was queen h8, mate. Queen h8. What's going on, people? What on earth? My goodness. Am I seeing it right? It's mate. Oh me, oh my. Okay. Move on. Wow, that's suddenly that was like something crazy happened here while we were away. So okay, like all of that happened. Wait a second, did he just miss something here? Because here white is winning. I'm pretty sure he's winning. Okay, he probably missed that there is nothing there. Okay, wow. Okay, I think he missed the winning chances for sure. That was unfortunate. That was just a missed mate, and like there was no real reason to take on c6. Just blockade it, continue to blockade it. The bishop on b7 was okay. That happens. So let's calculate. Let's tabulate. So we are. I think we have 3 points already, right? And it all down to the last. Like the question is like whether he's going to hold it or not. Well, he's 3 pawns down. Very unlikely. How did that happen? Yeah. So he just dropped a pawn here, and then dropped another pawn there, and then dropped a third pawn there. Like one of my favorite computer science books, like talking about like project management and how does the delay in a year happen, in a half a year happens on a yearly project, like little by little. This no, okay, I mean, come on, 2 pawns. No, this is lost. Yeah, I'm afraid like this missed mate in 2 times, or like, yeah, 2 times. It's going to really haunt us for a while, because it seems like yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, like, it's how can you not see mate in 1? I mean, that's probably like a little bit of a blackout in 13 seconds. And imagine that she had this chance twice, actually. I was totally expecting black like to realize that her mistake and go, am I missing something? Is it not a mate? No, it is mate. I see. Just like that. And as a result, like, I think it's going to be a difference between a drawn match and a lost match, unfortunately, for us. Yep, this is very lost. Yep. And here as well, I think I'm pretty sure like this position was totally winning for Liu Sangui. Rook g3, e3. I mean, like, just take it, for example. I mean, I understand why he's worried about the back rank mate, right? But let's say just like take with the rook on e3, and then you always have an exit valve, you know. So yeah, it's like 8. I think what he missed was even plus 11. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, the computer also offers like queen f6 with immediate victory. Yeah, which kind of makes sense. And e6 is suddenly... Yeah, this is going to be... Yep, that was unfortunate, but okay, that's chess, and that happens. And Jingyao lost, so I think the match is over. The score is 3-3. There was a lot of missed chances, missed opportunities. But there you have it. So let's check the board scores and also the final results, right? So because I think we might be also seeing the let's check if all the games are completed as well in an opening. So Moldova defeated Romania by a large margin, 5-1. Look at that. Look at that. But I'm afraid it's probably not going to make any difference. So all the results are in. Moldova is missing the qualification because, Slovakia is finishing 1 point ahead. So they must have won their last match, right? So Slovakia was playing what? Thailand? No, Israel was playing Thailand. Slovakia was playing against Latvia, and they defeated that handily. Yep. So in our group, the cross table is Greece #1, and with a really impressive results. So they drew 2 matches and they won everything else. Romania #2, Slovakia #3. These are the 3 teams that are qualifying for the next round. And remember, this is all the teams that we played on day 1. Actually, I think in exactly that order, right? If I remember correctly, we played Greece first, Romania second, and Slovakia third, and that's exactly how they ended up in the tournament table. What a coincidence. So Moldova just closely behind. We on the 7th place, we narrowly missed tying the 6th place with Latvia, and we probably would have been 6th if we won the last match instead of drawing that, because we would have more board points as well, and we had extra tiebreaker over Latvia, but still. So we finished 7th. So we won 3 matches, drew 2, and lost 4, right? So very good results, given the level of opposition, and lots of interesting games, a lot of won games, a lot of lost games. The last thing, probably just kind of to take an overview for our teams and the best scorers. So as I was saying, by far the fate of our team was really kind of relying on the shoulders of Gong Chanyun. 7.5 out of 9, really impressive. Especially the last 7 games she just won in a row. This is mind-boggling. Really, she's in a class of her own. And also I think who else is in a plus score. So on board 4, so Li Qinggaon was 5.5 out of 8, which is +3, and also with a really nice streak at the end of the tournament, +3. It's exactly the last 3 rounds today, where all of them are playing without substitutions. And for other players it was harder. So Yu Yang Hazel also ended at 50%, so congratulations. For others it was minus, no, on the last board, sorry, apologies. So Lauren Rice came in for the last 4 rounds and actually scored +1, really well. So for others it's we were struggling a little more, and the level of a competition was sometimes just over the head. It is tough. But there is also a lot of learning in that. So that was fun. I also want to thank all the people who stuck with this broadcast until the very end. So for those of you who were watching me and other guest speakers throughout 3 days. Like, thank you for your attention, for your interest. I hope that was interesting for you too. I hope it was enjoyable. Through supporting our team through all the ups and downs. So with that, I think I'm going to just end the broadcast right here. Thanks everyone. Congratulations for our team. Really well done. And enjoy chess and see you later. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.